Hello and Happy New Year. I had hoped this vlog would be coming to you from the top of a mountain, but unfortunately my wife is away, which meant I had to have Monty with me. So it was going to be a vlog featuring Monty, which I know some people would have enjoyed. But unfortunately last week he cut his hind leg on a walk. We're not sure how, but it was a very deep gash. And although it began to heal and I thought I'd still get away at the weekend, unfortunately towards the end of last week it reopened again. So it was another trip to the vets, some staples, and some strict instruction not to take any vigorous exercise for 10 days. So that means that I've had to stay home when I had been planning to be away. So what shall I do instead? Well, the previous vlog that I did, the last one of 2018, was about lack of motivation. This is a very difficult time of year sometimes, and the weather has not really been helping. It's been very grey and overcast and pretty still as well. So, winter hasn't turned up yet either. So, yeah, lack of motivation, not feeling great. The last vlog was basically me in a woodland, a grumpy bloke in a woodland putting the world to rights. But when that sort of period of non-activity kind of is extended, what do you do? Well, one of the things that I like to do is I like to go over some of my old photographs. Now, from my point of view, these days, digital photographs, they're never quite finished. They're never quite perfect. Now, you may choose to print a photograph and that's the final image, but there's nothing to stop you going back and tinkering. And especially when editing programs are getting better all the time, and as you progress your editing style changes, and so images from several years ago which might compositionally actually be okay, you may have edited in a way at the time that wasn't really going to get the best out of them. So it's always nice to go back over old catalogues and have a look at some old images, and sometimes you're faced with some absolute horrors. But I thought today what I'd do is I'd show you a couple of photographs from actually quite a long time ago, and re-edit them, see if I can make them any better from what they were before. So let's jump straight into it. Okie doke. Right, well, I've got two images here, and as you'll see, they are from 2010. Almost 9 years ago, a long time ago, and this is from both of these images are from home fill, taken kind of, I guess it was before it was kind of it really became popular in landscape photography circles. But I was up there with a friend, and we got some gorgeous light on the foreground, and then there was some snow on the Langdale Pikes in the background. And now, I know these aren't compositionally fantastic images, but still, it was a nice day, and I got some fairly nice images, I think. You'll notice, actually, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner here, it's from a time when I was using the small G in place of the big G capitals, so it was it looked like I was calling myself Reg Whitton Photography. That has since been corrected. Funny things you do when you're just starting out, really. But yeah, so kind of an image here of home fill, and then there's this one, Prepare Your Eyes. This is also an image from home fill, and wow, really sort of kind of contrasty, highlight, crunchy. I don't know what you would say about it, but at the time, this is how I edited these images, and I thought they were okay. And I'm pretty sure that now I can do a much better job. And in fact, I'm going to start on this one in particular, I think. So let's give it a go. We'll see how this goes, and see what we end up with. So I'm going to create a virtual copy, and here's the virtual copy of the image, and go into develop and I want to reset that image. Let's reset it to the original RAW, and there's the original RAW. Oh wow, okay, it was a landscape, not a. I was thinking it was going to be a portrait. Now these days I tend to like my portrait images rather than landscape, and this is going to be a little bit of a nightmare to edit if I keep it in landscape. I think there's all sorts of things going on here. There's these branches coming in on the left, which I suppose I could clone out. There's these trees which are cut off here, and this one on the left hand side there, and I don't really like those, but the main thing is these two trees here. That's the main subject, and then this nice sort of arrangement of trees in the background. So I'm going to start by let's just you know what, I like a 5:4 crop, so I'm going to do a 5:4 crop. Yeah. Right, actually, here we go. Let's pull that across. Let's put those. I think I'm going to darken that tree down on the left hand side, but let's start there. So this was actually taken with a Canon 40D, so 10 megapixels. I've just cropped it down to probably something in the region of about 6 megapixels, so don't go zooming in, but yeah, in fact I'm even going to crop that down a little bit more. It doesn't hurt, does it? It doesn't hurt, and I still don't like that trick. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it. There we go. It doesn't matter that I'm going to end up with an image that's only about 4 megapixels. A few years ago, that was absolutely fine. Right, there we go. That's a little bit better, and you can tell from the RAW that actually it's got quite a lot of nice natural contrast. So I don't really want to boost it up like I used to, but I am going to add in a little bit of a tone curve just to start me off, which is what I normally do, and there we go. And that's already started to saturate the colours, and it's added in some contrast and a bit of clarity to the image. But I'm kind of feeling in a not very vibrant mood, so I'm actually going to pull it back a little bit. So I'm going to pull the vibrancy, the colour down. What are we at? 6,600 temperature. I'm going to cool that off very slightly. Let's see what that does. I'm not liking how that's going, so I'm going to pull that, just take it back up a little bit. I'm going to pull down dehaze. Now, Lightroom didn't have a dehaze slider back in the day. No doubt I would have ramped it up if I'd been doing it then. But I'm just going to add a little bit of clarity and pull the dehaze down. It just sort of adds a little bit of sort of atmosphere, I guess, to these trees in the background. I'm happy with the exposure. I'm just going to pull the highlights down a little bit. I've probably taken that vibrance down a little bit too much. And then what I'm going to do, you see there's some light coming in from the right hand side, but it's not really immediately obvious here, so I'm going to add a little bit of a vignette, drag this I forget what you call it now. Radial filter. That's right. Sorry, I had to stop there and actually think about that. And just pull that down a little bit, just darken this off and make it look, there's a hint of some light coming in from the right hand side, so it's a little bit lighter on the right than the left. I'm actually going to take a graduated filter and pull that across and do the same kind of effect there, which will take slightly more even on the top. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another radial filter, just not quite so much. I'm going to invert it so I'm affecting the area inside, and I'm just going to warm it. There we go. There we go. And now this bottom bit, there's not really much going on down here, so I could crop to a square, but actually I'm going to keep it the same. So I'm actually just going to add some shadow to the bottom, just to ground the image a little bit. There we go. So that begins to make these two trees effectively pop on the image. You've got this one in the background which doesn't really affect it, but yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. And now I'm going to split tone it. So I want a warmer split tone on the highlights. There we go. And then I don't want do I want a cool split tone? Do I want something a bit greener? No, don't want green. Kind of actually liking the red. Something towards something warmer rather than cooler, definitely. Yeah. There we go. I'm kind of liking that actually. I'm just going to sharpen it, add a bit of masking to the sharpening and the detail. Oops. See what the enable. Okay, that plays around. Oh, I should have done that at the start actually. I might actually take that out. Yeah, you see this little tree here on the left hand side? It's closer. That trunk is closer to the edge. It's not a huge issue. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit of vignette, because I do like a little bit of vignette. But there we go. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. So that's what the photo looks like now. That's what it was like before. I think that's a much more pleasing image, and much more in the sort of style that I've developed now over time. So it's worth going back. Now I wouldn't say I'm going to include this image in my portfolio, but in terms of just giving me something to do when I'm not particularly motivated to take any more photos, this is that was 5 minutes well spent. Now I'm just going to go back to this one. Let's have a look. Look at it. I just think, oh my god, look at the saturation. It's so contrasty. Let's create another virtual copy of that one, and let's reset that and see what the raw. So that's the original raw. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, I already see what I kind of like this tree on the right. It's a little bit close to the right-hand side, but I feel it adds, these trees are adding balance to the pikes over here. This one is too close to the edge, so I'm gonna crop that out. And I'm gonna go for a freeform crop just to see how this works. This rock here, I think, I'm just gonna pull that over there. I'm going to clone out that little bit there. Now, question, do I set the bottom there, and then I'm going to pull down the top of the frame, so I'm kind of getting to a 16 sort of 9 framing, or do I include a bit more down here? And if I do, then I've just got this big bare patch down in the bottom right hand corner of messy dead bracken and things. So actually I'm just going to get rid of that. It's going to stop me, it's going to prevent me from, or save me from doing a load of cloning on that rock. And yeah, I've got the pikes over there. Let's switch to a 16:9, see how that oh, there we go. Alright, that hasn't really played with it. I was about there anyway. Crop that. Okay, good starting point. Let's start with what I should have done in the previous one. Now, let's see what happens here. I'm going to start to introduce a little bit of contrast to this. The whites of this tree are kind of like blown out. Just try and pull those back a little bit. Let's pull down a grad just to see what that sky is looking like. Yeah, it's not too bad. I don't really like this cloud here, or those clouds. I'd probably spend a bit of time cleaning that up a little bit, but all right. I want to add a little bit of clarity to that background. Now I could either do that by using another grad tool or using a brush, but I'm just going to add global clarity for now. But I'm going to also then just dehaze it a touch as well, and that's just going to brighten the image slightly. It's probably a bad choice of image to try and do live, but let's see. See, I'm hardly really touching these sliders. Okay, the whites has come down by 20 points. I probably want to introduce a bit of shadow, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did in the previous vlog. I'm going to pull in a little bit of a fake kind of vignette, a bit of light coming in from the left. All right, see how that's I'm going to warm up the image as well. Let's sharpen that. Sharpen the detail. And I really actually don't like this bottom corner. So I'm going to kind of just... I'm going to add a vignette, but I'm also going to just darken this off. It's just too bright. It's just attacking my eyes. And this is so this is starting to make it look more balanced with the landscape down there on the left hand side, which hasn't quite got the direct light on it. And I'm going to add in a little bit of a vignette there. That background really isn't doing much for me. What else do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to again pull down another grad. And that's about where I want it to start there. I'm going to darken it. I'm going to make this way more moody. There we go. There we go. It's starting to pop a little bit. And I'm actually going to add dehaze to that. Add some clarity. Again, pull down the blacks. But I'm going to push the white point up. There we go. Just that makes those clouds there pop a little bit more. And yeah, if I had more time, I'd probably play around with it a bit more. But this is kind of just a fun thing to do, is to go back over some of your old images and have a little play around. I'm going to play around with that split toning again as well. Do I want to add in a blue? No, I could go for something very, very Mark Littlejohn, I guess. No, I'm not suggesting that Mark would do anything like this. But I'm not actually liking the... Whoa. My computer's being really slow, which is making this quite an arduous process. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of that. There we go. So I've only really split toned the highlight. Take the hue down. There we go. So only the highlights have been toned. And yeah, there we go. That'll do. Let's see how different that is from the previous one. Whoa. Gosh, it's even more striking when you see that kind of difference from what you originally had. And this is what I've got today. It's a far more pleasing image. It's just a slightly more considered processing, but yeah, it's kind of what I would do, play around with old images. It's always worth going back. Now, like I say, I don't think that would make it into my portfolio, but even so, in my wider my wider collection of images, and probably a little bit more likely to keep that rather than the previous version. Anyway, next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be heading across to Snowdonia, and it looks like winter is going to arrive. At least the forecast at the minute is for snow on the hills, so I'm hoping to get some snowy images. So join me next week, we'll see what happens, and until then, have a great week.